Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a companion video. What is a companion video? Well, I'm glad that you asked. See, every day on the John Campea Show, we take some live questions, but we don't often have time to get around to all the live questions that get sent in. But I want to make sure those questions get answered in a video, so I gather them up and we address them here on companion videos. Now, it is Wednesday, March the 20th. We did the John Campea Show earlier today, and these are all questions we didn't have time to get around to, so let's not waste any time and jump right into it. We're going to start things off here today, getting caught up with Ahmad Ismail, who writes, do you guys think we'll be getting any new news on who will be the next Batman soon? The anticipation has been killer. Well, I don't know. Like, first of all, we don't even know when they're going to start shooting it. Matt Reeves recently put out on, in response to somebody on social media, he wrote, maybe by the end of the year. So that's got some people, maybe they're aiming to shoot by the end of 2019. So maybe in another 7, 8, 9 months, they're going to start shooting something. That's assuming they get a final script done and all that kind of stuff. I believe, and this is not based on any insider information, this is just me as a fan speculating, I believe they've already got their Batman picked. Now, you remember when Ben Affleck was cast as Batman, what we found out later on was that he had actually been signed up to play Batman 6 months before they ever announced it. I believe they've already got their Batman. I honestly don't know who it is. I mean, I have no guess who it is. I mean, I think there's still a chance it's Jake Gyllenhaal, despite the fact that he's doing Spider-Man Far From Home. Even though he's denied it before, I think there's a chance for that. But because we know at one point he was Matt Reeves' first choice, so whether or not that worked out, who knows. But whoever it's going to be, I think it's already been selected. So I think they'll wait till we get a little bit closer to whenever they start shooting. So I don't think we're going to find out anytime soon, as in the next month or two. But it can't be too much longer after that. Let's keep our eyes open for that. All right, Frost1977 writes, did you see Joss Whedon's Superman's tweet? Thoughts? I don't really think anything about it. For those of you who are always talking about, Joss Whedon put out a tweet basically saying that he thought Henry Cavill was a great Superman. If they allowed him to keep being Superman, that he could probably be better than Christopher Reeve. I know it's sacrilegious to say I already think he is my favorite Superman, even over Christopher Reeve. I don't really think there was anything more to it than him just putting out a tweet. I really don't. I know we like to read a lot of stuff into things, but I don't think that's the case here. I could be wrong, but that's just my thought. All right, Adam Beavers writes, hey guys, stumbled on The American President last night. That's a good little movie, Michael Douglas, if I'm thinking of the right one. Just forgot how good that movie is. The character speech at the end by the president is one of the best speeches ever. F. Bob Rumson. If I'm not mistaken, that's the one with, oh, damn it, what's the name of the actor from Jaws? I'm forgetting the actor's name. He kind of plays the bad guy. Michael Douglas plays the president. And it's a great end speech. You know, let me just make sure I'm remembering it's the right movie, because sometimes I get the wrong movie. The American President. Okay. So, if it's the one I'm thinking about, and indeed it is. Okay, so you got Michael Douglas, who plays President Andrew Shepard. Annette Bening's in it, and it's not Martin Sheen. It's Richard Dreyfuss, right? Richard Dreyfuss plays the guy, the kind of the villain who's running against him for president, right? Michael Douglas is already the president. And all throughout the movie, Richard Dreyfuss keeps saying, I'm Bob Rumson and I'm running for president. And he says that all the time. I'm Bob Rumson and I'm running for president. So finally, at the end of the movie, Michael Douglas goes, I'm Andrew Shepard and I am the president. It's a great line. It's a great moment. And you're right. Good classic little movie, Adam. I'm glad you stumbled across it. We don't talk enough about that movie. That one's actually really, really good. Michael J. Fox is in it too. I enjoyed that movie. You're right. That's a great little line at the end. Jordan Huxtable writes, can't see why MCU/R-rated characters can't overlap when needed. Example, Wolverine in and X-Men movie equals PG-13. Wolverine in Deadpool equals R. Simples. It's not that simple. And Fox is not Disney. Disney is a much bigger empire than just movies. Disney is a huge empire, and Bob Iger is very, very protective of that. What he does not want to have happen is have any confusion about what really specifically families are in for when they put out an MCU movie. He always wants to make sure that when you come to an MCU movie, you know you can bring your family, you know you can do this. There's no confusion. There's no question about it, blah, blah, blah. Disney has a relationship with its customer base, and Bob Iger sees it as his number one responsibility to protect that trust and protect that relationship. Now, you can sit there all you want, and I can sit here all I want and go, there's no problem. You just cross R and non-R all the time. But that is not the way the smarter people see it. Smarter than me. That's not the way people like Bob Iger, who is in charge of protecting that brand. And that's why Bob Iger has said, yes, we can do R-rated movies, but it's going to be a different label. It's not going to be Marvel. It's not going to be whatever, because we never want to confuse the issue. We always want to know, always want to let our audience know that when we say something's in the MCU, when we say this is Marvel and we put that label on it, you know what you're getting. You can bring your family to it. It's okay. You're not going to get shocked by it. You're good. And really, what's with the obsession, by the way, with R-rated stuff? What's the obsession with it? Has the MCU struggled? Jordan, has the MCU struggled not doing R-rated movies? Have they been barely getting by without R-rated material? I'd say they've been pretty damn awesome. And if to protect that, Iger says, hey, we can do Deadpool, but we're going to keep them separate from the MCU. That makes perfect sense. It's not rocket science. It makes perfect sense. And that's cool for you and for me to go, and I'm with you, Jordan, I am. Like, for you and for me, you can cross R-rated stuff into PG-13 stuff, no problem. But we're not the heads of Disney. And that's a different issue. And I can see that. Now, look, nothing is saying here that Bob Iger can't change his mind, that Bob Iger can't go, you know what, maybe we can do our... Maybe he will at some point. But if he doesn't, we can totally understand why. It does make good business sense. And that's why he said, hey, we can make R-rated stuff. We'll just make sure it's not under the Disney banner and it's not under the Marvel banner. It'll be something else entirely, to make sure there's never any confusion with our audience. It's important. It's key. That's why he's the smartest guy in the room. That's why he's the High Lord and Emperor of Disney. And that's why that company is worth billions and billions and billions of dollars, because they function smart. And he's going to continue to protect that. He's got to. Anyway, thanks a lot for that, Jordan. But I'm with you, though. I would see characters go back and forth all the time. No problem. KW Garrett 83 writes, confirmed. Guy on Reddit says Galactus, Silver Surfer, Wolverine, Fantastic Four will all be CGI'd into Avengers Endgame starting today. # you're welcome. It is kind of crazy how many stories and things start getting passed around and then just assumed as true because it's repeated so often. And then when you track it down, you realize, it all came from some anonymous guy on Reddit said it, and then it just proliferated from there. Happens so often, KW. Wilfred Rodriguez writes, hey, John, saw the trailer to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I got to admit, mediocre at best. Please keep up the good work. I got to disagree with you, Wilfred. I got to disagree. Now, I come to first trailers with a different expectation than I have for second or third trailers. First trailers, all I want you to do is give me a sense of the movie. You don't even have to let me know what it's about. You don't have to give me any details, nothing. Just give me a sense of the tone. What's the feel of this film going to be like? That's all I really need for a first trailer. And I thought the first trailer for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a Quentin Tarantino film, Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, I thought it felt great. It really did. I thought it felt fun. I felt it's got some madness to it. And I'm excited about seeing it. Now, I expect more from the next trailer. But for a first trailer, I actually thought it was pretty damn good. Not the best trailer of the year or anything like that, but I thought it was pretty damn good. But trailers, like movies, are pieces of art in their own way, and they're all subjective. So it didn't get you excited. Hey, man, I've had lots of trailers that people love that didn't get me excited at all. And maybe this is one for you. No problem. But I do got to say, I thought it worked as a first trailer. All right. Muse Tack Reviews writes, Ashley, I love you. Rob, I love you. And John, I love you. Now, here's my question. Will I see another Alien or Predator movie anytime soon under Disney? It's possible. I don't see why, though. Why would Disney fast track an Alien or a Predator movie? These are struggling franchises right now that don't have the best reputation right now. And don't have big success as of late. right? Oh, Predator was so bad. I was so excited for Predator. Shane Black was directing it. I really liked the cast. I was so sure that movie was going to be so good, and it was so bad. But anyway, understanding all that, when we say anytime soon, I'm going to guess you mean in the next year or two. I don't see why Disney. It's not like Alien films have been blowing up the box office and Predator films have been blowing up the box office and the audience is screaming for more of those. They're struggling franchises. Can I see them doing something with them eventually? Sure, yeah. Imminently? I don't see why they'd make those things their top priority right now. They've got a lot of other things they can focus on. So my guess, and it's only a guess, my guess is no, we won't hear about new ones of those anytime soon. At least not if we're defining that by the next year or two. I don't think so. I mean, maybe anything's possible, but my guess right now is no. All right, Spectator writes, just rewatched Batman vs. Superman. Although Christopher Reeve was the best Superman in my opinion, Cavill was the most badass. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. And he is, I say it unabashedly and without apology, Henry Cavill is my favorite Superman of all time. I think he won me over instantly in Man of Steel, which you guys know is one of my favorite comic book movies. Man of Steel is a masterpiece of the genre. I love that movie. And Henry Cavill, and I just love the way, I just love the job he's done as Superman. And when I think Superman, for the longest time, when I think Superman, my head wouldn't go to a comic book image. My head wouldn't go to an anime. My head would go to Christopher Reeve. But for the last number of years since I saw Man of Steel, when I think Superman, I think Henry Cavill. Yeah, I really liked him, man. What can I say? All right. I'm Upset writes, thoughts on Cardi B joining Hustlers with Jennifer Lopez? I don't honestly give a crap. I have no idea who or what Cardi B is. Now, don't get me wrong. If you show me a picture, yes, I know that's Cardi B. I know she's some sort of musician. I couldn't tell you a single piece of her music. And there's a lot of contemporary music I know very well, like all of us know. I couldn't tell you one thing about Cardi B, other than I hear her name in the news all the time, and that's it. For all I know, she's just famous for being famous, like a Kardashian. And I don't mean that derogatorily. I'm just saying I have no idea what she has done to benefit our society. Hustlers sounds intriguing. For those of you who don't know anything about that movie, Hustlers is about this group of strippers who decide to pull some kind of heist job on their wealthy Wall Street clients. Now, I'm guessing these wealthy Wall Street clients are cruel to them or treat them like dirt or whatever. I don't know. But I'm intrigued by it. Jennifer Lopez is in it. I think it sounds like a lot of fun. I have no idea if Cardi B is an actress. I know nothing. So I'm upset. I have no opinion of it whatsoever. Zombatron writes, hope those white suits are misdirects. They're ugly. I don't think they're ugly. In the Avengers, I don't see anything wrong with them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to cosplay in them for Halloween or anything. I don't think they're great, but I don't think there's anything wrong with them. Anyway, ZOMG Ruler writes, Disney seems closer than ever to being a monopoly. Well, I don't know. Monopoly means there's just you. In this space, there is still Paramount, Universal, Lionsgate, Warner Brothers. I mean, there's still big, stiff competition out there that are still making big movies, and they're still making lots of money. Paramount's struggling a little bit, but Universal is doing great. Warner Brothers is doing great. Then you got smaller studios like A24 and STX and whatever that are Blumhouse that are doing really great too. So while they are clearly the biggest player in the game, I don't think we're anywhere near calling them a monopoly. It's not like Coke and Pepsi, where they're the only two games in town. Disney's the biggest, but I wouldn't say they're anywhere close to being a monopoly. Not even close. Christopher Hamrick writes, favorite movie in the last 5 years? Oh, I have no idea. I'm not trying to dodge the question, Christopher, but that's something I would have to sit down and look over the list of the movies the last 5 years and really try to articulate. It's not one I can pull off the top of my head. Sorry about that. Let's see. Mad1306 writes, I think in Spider-Man Far From Home post-credit, they could have Fury tell Peter to go to the Baxter building for a scientist. Once there, he asked for Reed Richards. I mean, they could, but I highly doubt it. Look, Noah Hawley, who's the guy who created Legion, and they announced at Comic-Con a few years ago that he was developing a Doctor Doom movie. He recently shared that, he had a conversation with Kevin Feige. And what came out of that, he said, is the thing with Marvel is they have their next 25,000 years planned, and there's not a lot of room for a Doctor Doom. If you don't think that Kevin Feige already had Phase 4 planned out more than a year and a half ago, I think you're crazy. Kevin Feige had Phase 4 planned out before there was ever news of a potential Disney-Fox merger. Long before that. So, is Kevin Feige, and by the way, they didn't know till just a couple of months ago even when this deal would close. A couple of months ago, they knew they were working towards ending the deal, and they knew it would be sometime this year, maybe sometime before the summer, but they didn't really know till just a couple of months ago when the date really was. I just don't believe it's feasible to think that Kevin Feige went, oh, I had my plan, but let me change my plan now. I don't think that's Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige is meticulous with his planning. He's very careful with his planning. And I don't think he's now going to bum rush in Fantastic Four or X-Men or anything like that just because he can. Just because you coulda doesn't mean you shoulda. You know what I mean? Just because you can do something doesn't mean it's smart to do it, and doesn't mean you should do it. I think Kevin Feige is going to be he's going to be the same way with Fantastic Four and X-Men that he's been with all of his properties. He's going to be meticulous. He's going to be calculated. He's going to be patient. He's going to develop it. And when everything is perfect in his head, then he'll start to roll it out. For them to just bum rush out hey, wait, we got Fantastic Four now. Quick, let's put Fantastic Four in the post-credit scene. Ah! Like, that's not Kevin Feige. That's not how he does things. He's not, change everything, change all my plans, change them all because we got Fantastic Four now. I don't think he's going to do that. Why would you do that? Why would you rush out and start planting seeds when you're not even 100% sure and you haven't taken time and you haven't had your strategy meetings and you haven't done anything to plan out what it is you're going to do? And look, Disney and Marvel have gone ages without having X-Men and Fantastic Four. They've gone ages without having them. What's the rush now? See, that's what I don't get. I don't get why everybody thinks there's some world-ending impending rush. Gotta do it now. Quick, put in X-Men in the post-credit scene. Put in Fantastic Four. We gotta do it all right now. Guys, they've gone forever without these properties. Do you really think Kevin Feige, in one little bit, feels the need that he's got to just rush it out. Just throw it out there now. Just quick, put in a Fantastic Four postcard. Why would he do that? Why would we want him to do that? Why don't we want Kevin Feige to do what he's done with all of his properties? Be calculated, be meticulous, be patient, and roll it out when it's damn well ready to roll out. Right? Like they've had Doctor Strange forever. Did they do the first Captain America, the first Avenger, and go, well, we have Doctor Strange. Quick, let's put in a Doctor Strange post-credit scene. Whoa, we've got Doctor Strange. He's ours. We can get around to him whenever we want. We got a plan for that. It's much later. There's no need to rush. He's ours now. X-Men and Fantastic Four are Marvel's now. They don't have a ticking clock. They don't have to have something mentioned about them in the next 6 weeks or else you lose them again. Nope. They're very safely, from Marvel's point of view, they're very safely now all under the Marvel roof. And now they can use them when they are damn good and ready to use them. So this thought that they have to rush out and crank out a post-credit scene on Fantastic Four now. Why? Well, because they have the rights now. Yeah, well, they've had the rights to Black Panther forever, and they didn't drop a Black Panther post-credit scene in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Why? Because they own Panther, and they can get around to him when they're ready. Why the rush? Why the rush? Why does everybody think, you got to do it now? You got to do it now. You got to do it now. Why? Why? Why do we suddenly want Kevin Feige to act completely opposite to the way he has acted for the last 10 years with such great success. Look, everybody knows I never wanted X-Men in the MCU. I want them in their own separate universe. But Kevin Feige is going to do a great job with them. And Kevin Feige is going to do a great job with Fantastic Four. And he's going to do it when he is damn good and ready. He's already got a bunch of films lined up. He's already got Phase 4 planned out, all that kind of stuff, and it was all done without Fantastic Four and X-Men. Now, that doesn't mean he can't alter his plans. That doesn't mean he can't change it up a little bit if he wants. But this desperation from the fan base that, now! Why? There's no rush. Kevin Feige's going to get around to it, and he's going to do it, and he's going to do it right. Now, that's not me saying that it's impossible. They could drop some kind of thing in the post-credit scene. Of course, it's not impossible. It's possible. But I think highly unlikely, and I don't know why, as a fan base, we're so desperate for Kevin Feige to act so irresponsibly and so irrationally and so erratically when he's never acted like that before, and we've never wanted him to act like that before. Take your time, Kevin. Take your time. You've got them forever now. You've got them forever. There's no need to go into any kind of big rush. So anyway, that's just kind of my thought. I mean, I get the excitement. Fantastic Four, we're probably finally going to get a good Fantastic Four movie. I get that excitement. But why sabotage that and start pressuring or hoping to pressure Kevin Feige and Marvel to rush out some Fantastic Four thing and to act in a way they've never acted before? Let's want Disney and Kevin Feige to be patient and take their time and roll it out when they're damn good and ready to roll it out. So could that happen? Dude, listen, I'm like everybody else. When I saw Spider-Man Homecoming and they mentioned they're selling the building, even I went, imagine if they're going to sell it and it becomes the Baxter building now. Like, I thought that too, right? So I get it, but let's reel it in. This irrational desire of all of us to want Marvel to rush it. Just push it out. Who cares if you're not prepared? Just push it out anyway. And screw it, we'll figure it out later. Like, that's what DC used to do before Walter Hamada came out. Whatever, just crank it out. We'll figure it out later. That's not how Kevin Feige does it. That's not how we should want Kevin Feige to do it. So let's give him some time. Just because they have them now doesn't mean they have to just rush something out now. Anyway, that's just my thought on that, Mad. But seriously, as some people pointed out, how dope would it be if in the post-credits scene, you got Fury talking to somebody, and like all of a sudden John Krasinski comes walking in. Reed Richards, I presume? Oh, okay, come on. We would all freak out. Yes, we would all freak out, this guy included. All right, the Popcornator writes, Disney now owns the top 4 highest grossing movies. Yeah, but that doesn't really mean anything. Like, they now own Avatar and Titanic, sure, but it's not like that becomes a notch on their gun. They never made those movies. They may own them now, but they never made Avatar. They never made Titanic. It's just like they don't get credit. Disney doesn't get credit for the original Star Wars or Empire, Return of the Jedi. They don't get credit for that because they may own them now, but it's not a Disney movie. They didn't make them. So yes, that's true. They do own those top 4 now, but the top 2 were not produced by Disney. So it's kind of a weak accolade, you know what I'm saying, Popcornator? Okay, Luis writes, how to kill Thanos. Show him Black Widow training to kill him with a damn basic gun. He'd die from laughter. Well, I don't think Black Widow was training to kill Thanos. I don't think that's it. I think the world had become an awful place. Just look at the color palette of the trailer. I think the world has become a grim, dark place since the decimation, since the snap. And I don't think she's practicing with her gun to shoot Thanos. I don't think I don't think that's the issue. I just think she's practicing with her gun because the world's a dark, awful place and there's still a lot of crap they got to deal with, even more crap to deal with now because of the snap. So I don't think, because that would be laughable, right? Luisa, she's like, I'm going to take on Thanos with my gun. Pew, pew. Like, yeah, that would be laughable. But I don't think that's what she was training for. Okay. Zachary Buckler writes, so I guess this means we will see xenomorphs and predators in Endgame, right? Can't wait. LOL, just kidding. Love the new podcast. Thank you so much for that, Zachary. And you know what? I'm not going to do a whole big thing of, promoting it every single living, breathing moment. But since you brought it up again, let me drop a little plug for mine, Roberts, and Cody Miller's new podcast, Best Movie, Worst Movie. It is available now on whatever your favorite podcasting app is, iTunes and wherever else you get your podcast from. Go, subscribe to it, rate it, comment on it, all that kind of stuff. And we got off to a great start, so thank you guys for that. And thank you so much, Zachary, for pointing that out. I appreciate that, man. Okay, Yellow Does It writes, what if, don't worry, John, I got you. What if Kevin Feige super chats you and Rob and Ashley today to come up with a way to introduce the X-Men in the MCU? How would you all do it? Rob's obviously not here. I don't know. Like, it's a complicated problem that I'm not going to pretend that I have the answer to. Now, the big popular theory is that it has something to do with the snap or the quantum realm or the unsnapping and the quantum realm and all that kind of stuff, that the events of Infinity War and Endgame will give Kevin Feige a platform to build a excuse for how there are suddenly magically mutants in the world, foregoing all the rich history of the X-Men and what it all means and where it all comes from and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know that that's the best way to do it. Now, what really sucks about that is that I'm doing something that I hate when other people do, which is saying something won't work without having a better idea. And that's what I'm doing. I'm saying, I don't think that works. Oh yeah? Then what's a better idea? I actually don't know. And that's where I'm at right now. I really don't know what the best way to do it is. It is a complicated narrative hook. Look, you want to get that rich history of the mythology of mutation, that they've actually been around for decades. Charles and Magneto have been around for a long time. The whole thing about the public's let's say discomfort or the public angst against mutants. It's a big political allegory. Do you just throw all that away and say, quantum realm energy has now created mutants? Well, now you're throwing away all the narrative underpinning of what makes the X-Men universe so interesting. But look, what I tell Kevin Feige is keep X-Men in a separate universe. Keep X-Men in their own separate universe. You don't need to have everything under one damn roof. But I know that that's not going to happen. So yeah, man, I just don't know. Your guess is as good as mine right now. Ben C. writes, what if somebody asks you your top 10 actors who likes ketchup on eggs? Everybody just like trying to throw in every little like pet peeve I have into one individual tweet. Thanks, Ben. Brad Timms writes, what if whenever you mentioned something you disliked, us fans turned it into a super chat meme? Oh, wait, that's exactly what we do. Iron Spider, Dom Toretto, Han, ketchup on eggs, what if questions. There you go. Yeah, you're able to sum it all up in one thing. You guys always give me such a hard time. DC Patience writes, what's the highest you pay for Disney Plus? For me, it's probably $14.99 to $19.99 a month. That may be high for some, but we have a kid and it's worth it. I don't know. It's really tough. It's a great question, DC. Because look, we're all going to want to get Disney Plus. They're going to have Marvel shows. They're going to have Star Wars shows. They're going to have all their library of films. I mean, we're going to want it. The problem is, we are now entering into that neutral zone where the promise of internet on TV saving us so much money so we don't have to pay those ridiculous, unreasonably high cable bills. We are now getting to that point that, you know what, we're going to be spending so much money on all the various streaming services that we're going to end up spending as much, if not more, than we used to on cable. Now, I'm still pretty sure I spend less a month on my streaming services than I used to pay for. I used to have to pay like $100 for my cable. But, between, what is it, like $15 a month now for Netflix. I think I pay about $8 to $10 a month for Hulu. I pay for HBO Now. I pay for ESPN Plus. I pay for Amazon Prime, but I'm an Amazon Prime member just because I order so much off Amazon. I want it for the free delivery. But still, you could technically say I'm paying for Amazon Prime. I pay for Showtime. I mean, it starts to add up. And now you're bringing in another one. And I haven't even gotten the Disney streaming one. And I'm interested in getting the Disney streaming one now because they do have Titans and Doom Patrol. So I'm probably going to get that. It starts to add up. And I think Disney has to be cognitive of that. They have to be aware that you're asking people to sign up for something. They said it's going to be comparable or cheaper than the competition. Well, look, we all know the competition is Netflix. So I don't think you're going to see $20 a month. I think it's more likely you're going to see somewhere between $10 to $15. That's my guess. If they go up to $20 a month, I don't know. You're going to have to launch with a lot of content for me to sign up for $20 a month. A lot of content that I can't get elsewhere. Now, if they launch with The Mandalorian and Loki and some other new original, if they launch with 3 original shows that I really want to watch, plus a big library, maybe I'd sign up for 20. But I think they'd have a hard time getting a lot of new subscribers if they launch at that price point. I think it's going to be somewhere between 10 to 15. That's where I would feel most comfortable. All right. John Demoto writes, John, I wanted to ask, what are some questions I can ask you on the Super Chat feature? I know sometimes you get a lot of repetitive ones. Thanks. Well, I mean, you can ask me just about anything you want. And I don't mind repetitive questions because not everybody watches every show. Right? I learned that lesson a lot from watching. One of my favorite online personalities is Leo Laporte. Now, he's a technology guy. He's all about computers and stuff like that, and I'm a big tech head. And he's got this thing called the Twit Network, the This Week in Tech Network, and he does a lot of things. I listen to his The Tech Guy podcast, and anyway, he gets a lot of repetitive questions from the audience. But, you know, it's always still fun to hear. And again, not everybody listens to every show. So just because somebody asks, what do I do with my Windows 10 when it does this? Maybe somebody else asked that question 8 different times, but maybe there's a lot of people listening right now who never heard it before. So I don't mind repetitive questions. The only thing I don't like, there's a few things I don't like and that I won't answer. One, unless it's in a positive way, I don't talk about other YouTube channels specifically. Like I'll say, hey, there are YouTube channels out there that do this, and that's not what they should do. But I will never do it specifically. I'll never say X YouTube channel does this. I don't talk about specific YouTube channels in a negative light. I shouldn't. I've fallen into that trap before, and it's just no good. It's not something I want to do. Like, look, it's no big secret that me and, oh, damn, why am I suddenly freezing on her name? Why am I freezing on her name? You guys know I freeze on actors' names because I'm thinking of a million different things at once. And right now I'm freezing on, now I can't even remember. But anyway, you know me and that one girl YouTuber, we had a little bit of a spat once a couple years ago, right? And I don't know why she decided to pick a fight with me out of nowhere, but over something that I didn't do or say. But anyway, so I made a response video to it, referencing her specifically. And it was a mistake. It was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. Do I think what I said was accurate? Yes. Do I stand behind the things I said? Sure. But did it need to be said? No, I don't want to look, there's so much stuff on YouTube now. And there's constantly people out there who try to egg me into a fight. There are constantly people trying to egg me into a fight. And I'm just not going to oblige. First, I win every fight that I'm in. But I mean, I'm just not going to oblige. Just not at all. And I'm not into, I know there's a whole area of YouTube that loves the drama when X hates Y and they want to see them feud and whatever. And I get that. There's a cheap level of drama involved in that, and some people love seeing that crap. And there are literally some YouTube channels that all they do is talk about other YouTube channels. to me, it's like, really? I don't know about you guys, but I'm here to talk about movies. I'm here to talk about the things I love. And I should not allow myself to get dragged into talking about drama with other YouTubers. I just don't want to do it. I will talk about trends that are out there when there are groups of YouTube channels that do certain things and there's trends. I'll refer to those things, but I'll never refer to other channels specifically or by name or anything like that. Because to me, quite honestly, I think that's beneath what YouTubers should do. And, you know, I've said it before. A lot of people have asked me, hey, John, X channel is making a video about you. Why won't you respond? Well, my reply to that has been, well, because I am clearly important enough that they feel they need to talk about me, but they are not important enough for me to talk about them. And really, it's just behavior that should be beneath all of us. But people love drama and whatever and stuff. So what types of questions I will ignore is, John, what do you think about this channel? Don't you think they're the worst? It's like, you know what? No. And for those of you who watch my show live, I have often jumped into the chat board live before a show starts. Once, because people start jumping in the live chat board like an hour before the show starts, and a lot of conversations go. And when I see conversations, and for those of you who are in my live chat board, you can testify to this. When I see in the chat board people start railing on another YouTube channel, saying, "Oh yeah, that person's the worst," or blah blah blah, I'll jump in. I say, "Hey guys, look. My YouTube channel isn't for trashing on other YouTube channels. So nobody deserves to be attacked, so just cool it. Just cool it." And I ask everybody to cool it, and our chat board is great. And they go, you know what, you're right, we're going to cool it. And they stop attacking that person. And by the way, I don't know why I froze on Grace Randolph's name before, but I did. And by the way, since that time, Grace Randolph and I have had pretty much an unspoken truce. We've had an unspoken ceasefire, and she's never had an issue with me since, and I've never had an issue with her since. So it's all been good, which only makes me even regret more that I got involved with it in the first place. It was an immature thing for me to do. But yeah, anything. The only kind of, like, if you want to ask me, John, if you want to ask about lights that I use, if you want to ask about my favorite movies from 2014, if you want to ask about trends with modern directors, if you want to ask about the shows I'm watching right now, if you want to talk about my computer rig at the moment, we can talk about, you want to ask me about my favorite sports, you want to ask me about MMA, you want to ask me about whatever, I'm usually pretty good. The only thing I don't like is when people ask me questions pertaining to drama. And I just don't like it. And look, I'll be straight up with you. Look, a lot of people will know that I will not say by name the previous place that I worked. You want to know why? Here's why. Because when I first kind of broke out on my own and started my YouTube channel again, some people would ask me about the last place that I worked, and I would mention it by name and giving an answer. Not anything negative or anything like that. But people took what I said, a couple of people took what I said and twisted and say, did you hear John was saying this about the last place he worked? I'm like, that's not what I was saying. So I just decided to keep any drama out of it. To keep any drama out, I'm not even going to say the name of the place that I used to work. Just to keep drama out of it. And there may be some people who think me not mentioning the place by name is in and of itself drama. You may think that, but it's not. Not to compare to some of the stuff I had to deal with before. So to me, it's about drama avoidance. I don't like drama. I'm here to talk about movies. I started a YouTube channel. I started doing this stuff because I wanted to talk about the things I love. And the things that I enjoy. And my favorite things in the world, movies. I don't want to get caught up in the other crap. So yeah, there have been some times that people have sent in questions and I've caught it and I delete them. And I feel a little bad about that somebody, put in a super chat asking me about drama. But ultimately, it's protecting my channel, it's protecting myself, and it's protecting my viewers too. Like, we don't come here to talk about crap. We come here to talk about stuff we love. And so, yeah, I guess, John, and I appreciate you asking the question. I really do. And that's given me an opportunity here to address this, is that, and for 99.9% of the time, our community is awesome. 99% of the time, the questions that come in are great. on topic, talking about movies or TV or just fun stuff, things we love. Very, very rarely do questions and stuff like that about drama come in. And even when they do, usually they're innocently intended. But yeah, that's really the main stuff I just don't want people to ask me about. Other than that, yeah, let's talk about anything fun. Anything fun. Go ahead and let's ask. All right, John, thanks for writing that. And sorry I went on so long about that, but whatever. Madsif Jada writes, Rotten Tomatoes has top critics' opinions, so why not top audience critics? Plus, make the process of becoming a top audience critic long. I think Madsif, for the most part, because nobody cares about audience ratings. I think that's for the most part. Nobody cares what the audience rating is because audience ratings mean nothing because they're quite often gamed and they can be mimicked and they can be undermined and they can be sabotaged. And we've seen that. People don't really care about the audience score. And so why go through some big long system of having top audience critic? Well, then you're not an audience. Then you're a critic. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just don't see it. I honestly think the best solution I've heard, and a number of people have suggested it, and I'm all on board with it, is the notion of, look, the only thing you need to do to correct the whole thing about user ratings on Rotten Tomatoes is just verify that somebody's actually seen the movie. What better way than Fandango, which owns Rotten Tomatoes, just say, hey, if you bought a movie ticket on Fandango, once that showtime has passed, saying, what did you think about such and such movie? You just saw this movie. What did you think? And then gather those scores and make that the user score on Rotten Tomatoes. That way you have confirmation that the person actually saw the movie and you're good to go. I think that's the best way to do it. I really, really do. Mike Thompson writes, the cooking channel has a segment called You're Eating It Wrong. I didn't know that. And the straw/butter delivery method has been officially recognized as the correct way to eat popcorn. I have been an evangelist of the straw butter popcorn combo for years. I've been telling people about this. Because I love butter on my popcorn, but I get frustrated when after I eat just the top little layer of popcorn, now all the butter's gone. So what I started to do years ago was I push a straw down to the bottom of the bag, put the butter nozzle through the straw, and then I start lifting the straw or lowering the bag through so that butter gets distributed nice and evenly through all the popcorn, so all of my popcorn has that rich, buttery goodness. Totally unhealthy for you kids. Don't do this at home, but it is what I love. Thanks for sharing that, Mike. Cardo the Bassist writes, I've heard that in comics, the Supreme Intelligence commits mass genocide to promote evolution in Kree. Maybe the snap could be the catalyst for mutants. Again, yeah, that's a very, very popular it's a very popular theory right now that either the snap or the undoing of the snap causes mutants. You can do that. To me, the reason I don't like that idea is because, again, it throws away all the rich history narrative of what the X-Men are and what mutants are in the world and the history of mutants and ways society views mutations and mutants and blah, blah, blah. You throw all that away. And who knows, that might be what they do. I think it's a bad solution because it's just the price tag is too high. But again, I'm one of these idiots who are sitting here saying, I don't like that solution. Well, then what solution do you have? I don't have a better solution. And that's me right now. But yeah, there's no idea that you can put forth right now that's just mutants just get created now. Well, then you're throwing away Magneto, you're throwing away Charles, you're throwing away so much of the history of and what the true richness of the mutant narration is gets thrown away. And I don't know what the answer is, but I know I don't like that one. But it is a popular one, Cardo. A lot of people coming up with that sort of a theory. And maybe it's what they'll do. Jeremy Miller writes, Stranger Things 3 and Far From Home on same day. Oh, I didn't realize that. Stranger Things 3 drops the same day as Far From Home? Woo, big day. Big day for viewing. I mean, I can watch Far From Home I can watch Stranger Things when I get home. I'm watching Far From Home first. Kevin Lewis writes, forget the Defenders. Do you think we can see Heroes for Hire movie in the MCU, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist? So basically Defenders minus Daredevil. You can, but I don't see why you would. I mean, Iron Fist sucked. Luke Cage sucked, except for the first half of season 1 was really good, and then the second half of season 1 was bad, and all of season 2 was bad, in my opinion, at any rate. I haven't liked Jessica Jones, so I'm not sure why you take failed characters and make a movie out of them. Like, could you? Sure. But I kind of feel the same way about that as I do about the whole Aliens Predator thing. It's like, why would you make a priority struggling franchises? Why not focus on other things first? So maybe they could at some time, or maybe that you could do a Disney Plus streaming thing with them, whatever. Again, I guess you could. I just don't see why you would. Just because you could, it doesn't mean you should have. But who knows? Mike Thompson writes, also, Anastasia is a Disney princess now. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know if they will officially christen Anastasia as a Disney princess. I think that, you know what, I'm with you, Mike. I think they should. I don't know that they will, but I think they should. I think it's just nice to do a nice little press releasing. Anastasia, the newest member of the Disney princesses. Why not? I'm for it, but I don't know if they will. Raven 4152001 writes, my endgame theory, Goose eats Thanos the end. You know what, Raven? I think you sent in that exact same super chat before, but it could be. Just all of a sudden they confront Thanos and all of a sudden out of nowhere, Goose just eats him. There you go. Dirk Diggler writes, John, I don't want to rain on Kevin Tsujihara's situation, but I am having a DCU party at my house on Friday celebrating the Tsujihara announcement. Y'all are welcome to come over. I don't know, man. I don't think it's ever great to celebrate somebody's demise. He's not an evil dude and all that kind of stuff. I mean, look, I understand the situation they were in. I understand him needing to step down. I do. But I'm not going to celebrate. I don't think there's anything about this situation to celebrate, but that's just me. Razor's Edge Frisbee writes, honestly, as a hardcore gamer, Stadia sounds awful. You need a 25 megabit connection just to play at 1080, 60 frames per second. Rob, get a PS4. Okay, first of all, Razor's Edge, for those you don't know what he's talking about, Stadia is that new gaming platform that Google's announced, which sounds awesome. I saw nothing, Razor's Edge, that says you need to have a 25 megabit connection just to play. I stream 1080 video at 60 frames per second at like 7 or 8 megs per second. All you really need to be able to stream is the video and some minor code that really doesn't take up a lot of bandwidth to communicate back and forth from the server. Now, maybe Google did say somewhere that you'll need a 25 megabit per second connection. Maybe Google did say that somewhere, but I didn't see them say that anywhere. And I know you certainly don't need a 25 megabit connection to stream 1080 video. So I'd be curious. Do me a favor. Email me at john@thejohncampeashow.com. Email me and send me any link you had to any official announcement about that. Because, frankly, you know what? When I first moved into this one apartment in Burbank, when I first moved to Burbank, not when I first moved to LA, but when I first moved into Burbank, moved into this apartment, and it was going to take me about a week to get internet. And all I had was this Sprint hotspot box, right? 4G hotspot box. And, it wasn't even 4G. It was like a 3G hotspot box. Anyway, the max download I was able to get was about 4 megabits per second. That was the fastest I could get. But guess what? I hooked up my Netflix. I had it streaming at 1080p, and it was streaming. Guess what? My show, The John Campea Show, I stream it at 1080 at 4 megabits per second. So I don't see the rationale. I don't understand this thought that you need a 25 megabit connection. I don't think you do. Again, I could be wrong about that, and I would love, I'm not asking facetiously, I'm being honest here. I would love it if you could send me any links you have about that so I can read up more about it. I'd be very curious to see that. Okay. R Squared Games writes, Stadia is interesting, but have you seen xCloud? I don't know much about xCloud other than it's a Microsoft-based thing that was based around the Xbox One, and in theory, it's kind of the same thing that you should be able to play over the cloud or something like that. Other than that, I don't know much more about it. I just know who it's from, but I never really saw it come to fruition, so I don't know much about xCloud. Oz writes, any chance we'll see any former Fox Marvel characters in Endgame, maybe in a post-credit scene? Again, I don't think so. No, it makes no sense to do that. They finished shooting the film before the deal was ever finalized. So I'm going to guess no. I mean, look, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So is it possible? Like when you say, is there any chance? Sure. 1% is any chance, but sure, I'll say there's any chance, but highly, highly unlikely. Dave Adkins writes, thoughts on Google Cloud-based game console? Well, Dave, you clearly missed the opening of the John Campea Show earlier today because that was the first thing we talked about today. I think it's amazing. What I saw floored me. And they're saying it's going to execute. And if it does execute, oh my God, it completely changes the game. I know I'll play a lot more games if they're able to do it. Like I'm thrilled about it. I really hope it works out. Ben Rayner writes, love Home Sweet Home by Motley Lue in the trailer. Of course, Motley Lue is a reference to Hot Tub Time Machine because Lou ends up going back in time and then he founds the band Motley Crue. Only he calls it Motley Lue and he writes Home Sweet Home. And of course, that was in the what was the name of the trailer again? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That was in the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. No, sorry, that wasn't in the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That was in the Stranger Things 3 trailer. Nice music selection, by the way. The Motley Crue tune, then Teenage Wasteland. It was a real nice music selection for that trailer. I thought it was good. Schnell Hope writes, could the snap have permanently lowered the amount of life in the universe? So if you have a baby, you are ashing someone. No, I don't think so. That they never once suggested. So you're saying, okay, he snapped his fingers, wiped out half the life in the universe. And now that amount of life in the universe will never go above that. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's the way it works. At least they never once suggested in the movie that that's the way it would work. They never once suggested in the movie that that was the way it was going to work. So no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Johnny Oseguera writes, feeling nostalgic after listening to your podcast. I'll be rewatching Aliens and Commando later today. Anyways, love the show. Go Arizona Cardinals. So what Johnny's referring to is in our podcast, of course, Best Movie, Worst Movie. Our latest episode, and we have 2 episodes up, the category was 80s action films. And each of us talked about our favorite 80s action film and our worst 80s action film. And it was good. We had so much fun on that one. We really did. We had so much fun on that one and talking about all those old 80s movies. And it was a great time. So guys, check out the podcast if you get a chance. All right. Next up, Andrew writes, on the best/worst podcast, love that you said Supernatural is your favorite show. What do you think makes a show so good, and how would you recommend introducing it? Yeah, you know what? I actually misspoke. Because when I was listening to the podcast again, I realized I said it was my favorite show of all time. Supernatural is not my favorite show of all time. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, but it's not like in my top 5. It's not in my top 5, but it's probably in my top 10. And I love watching the show. I continue to watch it to this day. However, I'm getting I'll have to get back to her in a bit. I'm getting a phone call and I can't get to it right now. Anyway, the thing for me that makes Supernatural so good is simply the characters. I love Sam and Dean. I love hanging out with the boys. I love it almost doesn't matter to me what the actual storyline for that season is. It doesn't matter who the villain is that year, whether it's Michael or whether it's Lucifer or whether it's the Leviathan or whether it's Amara or whether it's the Yellow-Eyed Demon or whoever it is. It almost doesn't matter to me because I tune in just to hang out with Sam and Dean and at one point Crowley and Castiel and Bobby and I just like hanging out with them once a week for an hour. And it's the strength of those characters and the really good quippy dialogue that just hangs me in there. Now, yeah, I like the stories and I like all that kind of stuff, but it's just the characters and the dialogue are so well written. I just feel like I know these guys and I just like hanging out with them. It's very comfortable and that's what makes it so good to me. A good way to introduce it, straight up season 1, episode 1. Season 1, episode 1. And then just have fun watching how the show evolves. All right. Dave Adkins writes, Rob or Ashley into games at all? Ashley used to be, but she hasn't been since the N64. Rob plays some games, yeah, but I wouldn't say that any of us are hardcore gamers. By no stretch of the imagination. I play some video games. I mean, right now I've got like I got Divinity Original Sin 2 on my desktop. I got Star Wars Battlefront 2 on my desktop right now. I've got Spider-Man on my PS4 right now, but I am not a hardcore gamer by any stretch of the imagination. But we each like playing video games. Toby Miller writes, Pokemon came out in 1996, the same year as Harry Potter. Pokemon's worth is $92 billion and is the highest gross media franchise of all time. Harry Potter $31 billion. Detective Pikachu is $1 billion film. Okay. I've had lots of people write that in, Toby. Okay, great. Wonderful. Then tell me why the last wide release Pokemon movie made $12 million at the box office. Answer that question. Why did the last wide release Pokemon movie make $12 million at the box office? Yes, Pokemon as an overall franchise, but Pokemon isn't primarily a movie franchise. That's like saying, Apple is the biggest thing in the world. It's the biggest company in the world. It's worth hundreds of billions of dollars. So if you put out an Apple movie, that automatically means the Apple movie is going to be a big giant hit. No. They put out an Apple movie. They put out a couple of Steve Jobs movies, and they did okay, but neither of them are big blockbusters, besides the fact that Apple is the biggest thing in the world. Facebook, everybody uses Facebook. Everybody uses Facebook. So if you put out a Facebook movie, it's going to be $1 billion film. No, it wasn't. And so you can say Pokemon is the biggest franchise. Okay, you can say that, but it's not the biggest movie franchise. And everybody used Facebook, and it wasn't $1 billion film. And everybody used, like, Mac is the biggest thing in the world with iPhones and iMacs and MacBooks and iPads and everything that they do, biggest company in the world, highest net worth in the world, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't mean if you put out a movie about Mac that they're going to necessarily be a big grossing movie. Look, I think Detective Pikachu is going to be a big film, but because it looks great. That's why it's going to be a big film. But again, it's like all these people are saying, well, Pokemon's the biggest thing in the world, so it's going to be $1 billion film. Okay, well, explain to me why no Pokemon wide release films ever made over $100 million. And the last one made like $12 million, maybe 17. But anyway, and that was a wide release, theatrically released film, made like 12 or 17 million bucks. So all I'm saying is just because something is big in other things does not automatically mean it's going to be this. I remember I had so many people insisting to me that Power Rangers was going to be $1 billion film. John, you just don't understand. You don't get it. You don't get how much nostalgia there is and how popular this brand has remained and how loyal people are to it. It's going to be, and I said, it's not going to be $1 billion film. I also thought the movie was going to be horrible, and I ended up liking the Power Rangers movie. I did. I enjoyed the Power Rangers movie. I do. But now we're just seeing the same song again. Everybody's saying, oh, because Pokemon is so big, that automatically means it'll translate into big box office. Guys, how many times are we going to see the same song and dance? And for the record, I think Pokemon Detective Pikachu is going to be big. I think it's going to be big, but it's going to be big because the trailers look awesome and fun and entertaining. That's why it's going to be big. And you couple that with the fact that it's a very recognizable IP and all that type of good stuff. $1 billion film? Hold your horses. Right now, they're projecting a $75 to $90 million opening. That's not exactly putting it on track to be $1 billion film. Not that that's impossible, because we've seen some films open to less than $100 million that have gone on to join the $1 billion club. It happens. It's rare, but it happens. But it's erroneous logic just to think that because something is big in other media areas, that automatically means it's going to be the biggest movie. Well, we've seen that before, and we've seen it not work that way. Maybe it'll happen here, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, guys. We'll have to wait and see. But one does not automatically mean another. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Anthony Franco writes, loved Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool pick with the Mickey Mouse ears. Does the 2019 hidden in the pick potentially mean something big is coming this year? I didn't see a 2019 in the pick. I just saw like bus number 19 or whatever. I don't think it was a secret message. I think it was just a fun picture. For those of you who haven't seen it, first of all, you should be following Ryan Reynolds on his Twitter anyway, because his Twitter is hilarious. So check out his Twitter account because it's hilarious. And he put up this picture of him on a school bus, inside the school bus with Mickey Mouse ears just waving. And the school bus on the side says Disney. It's hilarious. And I don't think it means anything, but I just thought it was really funny. All right. Javier Belmer writes, love me some baby O'Reilly. So hyped for ST3. Honestly, Javier, I do not know what we're talking. I don't know what ST3 is, and I don't know what Baba O'Reilly is. So sorry about that. All right. Next up is Cameron Wiskovich, who writes, the issue with the Stadia is that in order to have the best quality graphics and performance, you'll need the highest internet connection possible, something not many people have the ability right away. Again, I don't know that that's true. In theory, you should just need enough internet to transfer 1080 video. And again, I've had 1080 video with a 4 megabit connection home internet before. Now, granted, I have much higher now, and I think most people have higher than that, but I was streaming that level of quality of video no problem with a very small internet connection. And like I said, today even I transmit and broadcast the John Campea Show in 1080 at 4 megabits per second, which is actually really, really low. So I don't know that that's true. But again, like I said earlier, if they did say something about that I missed, which is very possible, I'd love for you guys to email that information to me because I'd like to see that. Okay, anyway. Syrian Douglas writes, where's Syrian? Oh, yeah. What did Ashley think of UTIF trailer? I honestly don't know what we're talking about, Syrian. Sorry about that. All right, Javier Belmer writes, God bless Tarantino, always giddy with his films. Yeah, I mean, I don't absolutely love every single one of his films. Like Death Proof, I thought was a little boring. I wasn't all that thrilled with Hateful Eight. But other than that, yeah, Tarantino films are pretty fun. I mean, Inglourious Bastards, Django, oh God, I love those movies. And this one looks like it's a winner. I can't wait to see it. All right, Kevin Lewis writes, anyone watching Project Blue Book on history? They do a great job recreating post-war U.S. Love the cars. I'll be honest with you, Kevin, I don't even know what that show is. Is it like a documentary show or anything? Project Blue Book. It sounds almost like a Pawn Stars kind of a show. I'm probably way off, but I don't know anything about it, but I'm sure a lot of you guys know exactly what Kevin's talking about. Jump down in the comments section. Let Kevin know what you think about that show. All right. Eric DeRiggi writes, physical media for life. Studios can't alter physical media digitally like Bird Box. You never own digital media, just the license. Digital sound is horrible. Well, first of all, Eric, I mean, who are you trying to convince? Like, I'm sorry, I've been using digital media for a long time. Audio is awesome. The audio I get from digital media is great. So I'll just say that. But who are you trying to convince? There isn't a vote going on about whether we should keep digital media, whether we should keep physical media or switch to digital. There's not a vote going on. Physical media is going away. You know, in just 2 years, Blu-ray disc sales dropped by 30%. In just 2 years, they dropped 30%. Blu-ray disc player sales have dropped massively, so much so that Samsung has announced they're not even going to make them anymore. They're the number one manufacturer of Blu-ray players, and they've gotten out of the game. Some people go, well, that's only because people can play Blu-rays on their PS4s and stuff. Well, yeah, then why have the disc sales? Like, the fact of the matter is it's going away. It's not a discussion. It's not a debate. It's not a referendum. Physical media is disappearing. So people keep writing to me as if there's an argument to be had here. Like, oh, no, get people to vote. There's no vote going on. People vote with their wallets, and people just are not buying physical media anymore. Obviously, some people are, but I mean, the number is shrinking. Even Rob, who is the hardest core of physical media guys, even he is just telling everybody physical media is dying. Physical media is going away. It's not a discussion to have. It's not a debate to have. It's not like we can convince people otherwise. People just aren't buying physical media anymore. And I'm a pretty big movie guy, and I stopped buying physical media almost a decade ago. And I love what I get. I love what I get. Now, I'm not going to try to convince anybody who prefers physical media that digital's better. I'm not going to do that, but it's a pointless conversation to have because it's what is happening. It is going away. It's like arguing for the rotary telephone. Okay, you can argue for the merits of the rotary telephone all you want, but the fact of the matter is it was dying out and it was going to go away and it was going to be replaced by something else. And that's just what we've got. We're in a situation now where it's going away, and I think there are a lot of benefits to physical media. Of course, it can get scratched, it can get lost, it can get stolen. Like all this time, you actually have to have it physically with you in order to watch it and play it, which to me is the most archaic thing in the world. Like all my movies, I've got in the cloud. I've got in Google Play. I can watch it anywhere, anytime. It's like, oh man, I would love to watch Die Hard, but I don't have my disc with me. Really? That's such a backward, archaic way of doing things. It's such a backward, archaic way of doing things. A disc gets damaged, a disc gets scratched, somebody borrows it, you misplace it, whatever. That never happens. I can be on an airplane and go, oh, I feel like watching one of the movies in my library. Just open my phone, play. Just that simple. I'd be anywhere, anytime. You gotta. If you want to have access to your videos, you got to carry it around everywhere. You got to carry it around. You got to carry all your Blu-ray collection with you everywhere. To me, that's archaic, completely archaic. But Rob prefers his physical media. You prefer your physical media, and that's great. I'm not going to talk you out of it. But the times are changing, and it is going to become an obsolete medium pretty soon. And you don't have to like what I'm saying, but it is the facts. I mean, that's just the statistics don't lie. So anyway, there's that. Fayanti Productions writes, John, Stadia is not cross-platform, it's cross-play. You won't be able to play PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo exclusives. Well, see, here's the thing, though. How many of those exclusives do you think are still going to get made? When game developers realize we can make a game that will have, because everybody who makes any product wants to have the widest possible potential audience. Everybody who produces any product want the widest possible potential audience that would be interested in that product. If this thing takes off, game developers are going to become very hesitant to make an exclusive game for any platform. Because they're just going to go, hey man, we could put this thing on Stadia and have it be, then everybody could buy it. Everybody could buy it. If we put this thing up on Stadia, everybody will be able to buy it. Easy. And they don't even have to own a PlayStation or an Xbox or a Nintendo or whatever, right? Now, Nintendo may remain a pretty closed ecosystem. That could be a little bit of a different thing, but I think a lot of game developers are going to be very excited about this. And you already hear the platform, the console companies panicking. You already hear them panicking. But I don't know, man. I honestly think this could be a major, major game changer. Because if I'm a game developer and I could make a game that has a potential sales audience of 10 million people, or I can make a game that has a potential sales audience of 200 million people, who am I going to make my game for? And eventually I just think, now, who knows? Maybe the Stadia thing doesn't take off, and maybe it doesn't deliver on the promises that it's giving. Maybe it does require to have some ridiculous bandwidth, which I don't think it does, but maybe it will. There's a million things that can go wrong with Stadia. All I'm saying is, as a non-hardcore gamer, if this thing works the way they say it's going to work, whoo, man, it changes the game. It changes the game. I really think it does. Anyway, Luke Blackwell writes, John, I saw a picture on Instagram with you and a jiu-jitsu gi. How long have you been training for? Yeah, that gi was from where I trained back in Canada. And then when I came over to LA like 10 years ago, I started training. That's when I started training at Randy Couture's gym. And I started training there, but I never like trained exclusively. Once I came over, I never just did jiu-jitsu. I just did wider, just various MMAs. Like I did a little jiu-jitsu, I did a little Muay Thai, I did a little this, I did a little that, and then I went to the UFC gym and then things like that. But I never actually just trained exclusively jiu-jitsu, except for a little while when I was still in Canada. So yeah, so there's that. But every once in a while, a big UFCs to honor George St. Pierre. I used to only crack out the gi for George St. Pierre fights because George St. Pierre would always come to the ring in his gi. But now on the big cards, when there's a big UFC going on and we're hosting a watch party at my place, I'll crack out the gi and I'll put on the gi just because it's fun. It's my role playing, okay? It's my role play. Okay, let's see. It's my cosplay, if you will. The Halo Brony writes, is that a Captain Canada skull to your right? Explain. Yes, there is a Captain Canada skull right here. Let's see. All right. So here we have my Captain Canada skull. Not a Captain Canada skull. Honestly, explain it. There's no explaining it. I was just in a shop that had a bunch of cool things. And one of the things they had was a Canadian flag skull. And I just liked it. I just liked it and I wanted it. So I bought it and yeah. I got so much Canada stuff in my place. It's crazy. I got this giant Canadian wooden flag. I got to figure out a place I'm going to hang that up around here. But yep, no more explaining it than just that I saw it and I thought it was really cool. So I bought it. So that's what it is. Okay, let's move on here. Matthew Williams writes, where'd Matthew go? There he is. Do you think Doctor Strange becomes Sorcerer Supreme in the sequel or the third one? I don't see any reason to wait much longer. I think he probably becomes the new Sorcerer Supreme in the sequel. Because at that point, he would have already been in 3 movies. He would have been in Doctor Strange 1. He would have been in, I mean, if we're not talking little cameos like in Thor Ragnarok, he would have been in Doctor Strange 1, Infinity War and Endgame. I'm assuming he's going to make an appearance in Endgame. So I don't know how long you need to wait to make him Sorcerer Supreme. So my guess will be that he becomes, because there isn't a Sorcerer Supreme right now. So my guess he becomes the new Sorcerer Supreme in the sequel. Just a guess, though. Charlie Zakari writes, any chance Thanos was dusted? Apparently not, because he snapped, he escaped, all the dusting happens, and then the last scene is him still just sitting there looking out on the field. So it looked like he survived the snap. I mean, it's possible they could say he was the last person to dust. It's possible they say that, but doesn't sound likely. I don't think he dusted. Kevin Lewis writes, hey guys, do you think it will be revealed that Hawkeye and Black Widow have a history between the sheets? I don't think so. They seem to be pretty explicit that it was just a really close relationship, but I don't think it was ever romantic or sexual. I just think they're basically family at this point because of their history. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, we see them hold hands in the Endgame trailer. Maybe that means something more. It's possible. My guess at this point, though, is no. I think they have more of a brother-sister, very close friend relationship. But could be wrong. We'll have to wait and find out. I don't know why though. Here's the thing. I don't want them to do that because not every male-female friendship has to be a romance. Why does every male-female friendship in movies and TV shows have to be romance and have to be sexual? Why not just have this great family-like bond between them? I think that would be the best way to go, but who knows? They may. Rufino Salazar Jr. writes, John, chances we'll get a Fox Marvel movie within 2 years. Thank you for providing where we can ask questions and have fun doing it with Super Chats. Well, thank you so much for that, Rufino. I don't know. I honestly, I don't see the need for one. I don't think any within the next 2 years would fit within Kevin Feige's plan because Kevin Feige's already had it all planned out already for a long time without any of the Fox properties. So I'll say the chances are 15%. Still a chance, but I think low, so I'll take 15% on that. Apex Caliber writes, Galactus / X-Men in Endgame. LOL, catch my next. Tell you guys love just giving me a hard time, Apex. You just love giving me a hard time. All right, Eric DeRiggi writes, is it possible to sneak an ending into Endgame? The shawarma scene was filmed last minute and put into the movie with weeks to go. Yeah, it totally is. Although, here's the thing. The post-credit scene now is such a standard thing for the MCU. I'm sure they've already filmed their post-credit scene. But you could, if it's something that's completely non-consequential. Because here's the thing. The thing about the shawarma scene was, it didn't affect anything else in the universe, right? You weren't introducing new characters. You weren't setting up a new movie. It was just all the characters from the movie, and you just end it with them sitting around the shop eating shawarma. No impact on anything else. You could easily do that. Yeah, something that's inconsequential. But that would be radically different than, oh, quick, let's hire somebody to be Reed Richards and bring them in and introduce Reed Richards. Like, that's something completely different. Totally different. Something quick, inconsequential, just using the cast from the movie to do something that has no impact on anything, but maybe a funny little visual gag. Yeah, you could do that. Absolutely. Why not? I mean, like you said, Joss Whedon did it with the first Avengers. You can absolutely do it here. But it's just that now they plan them out so well that I think it's unlikely, but they could. Totally could. Apex Caliber writes, Disney keeping Fox Hulu stuff for the R-rated stuff. Hey, listen, Bob Iger himself once said that he suggested once that, maybe we put certain kinds of stuff on Disney Plus and put darker or more mature stuff on Hulu. He didn't say that's what they were going to do, but even Iger himself has come out and suggested that's a possibility. So Apex, I don't think you're far off. I think that might be a direction that they head in. Let's keep our eyes on it. Apex follows up with RAP New Mutants, instant Blu-ray, Disney Plus. I have nothing to base this on. I have no insider information, just purest fan speculation. But I'll tell you what, when I heard that they hadn't even started the reshoots that they were supposed to do in November, I don't see how on earth this movie makes its release date. So I am starting to believe this movie does not get a theatrical release. I'm starting to believe this movie does not get a theatrical release. And may go right to Disney Plus. I'm starting to feel that way. Let's put it this way. Nothing's guaranteed, but I'm getting to the point now where I'll actually be a little bit surprised if it actually does get a theatrical release. That's how I'm feeling right now. All right. Kaylin Bison writes, New Mutant on Hulu. Yeah, look, again, Hulu. And actually, yeah, going back to the previous couple questions, yeah, maybe Hulu more than Disney Plus. If it's R-rated, maybe they put that straight to Hulu. That's actually a good place for it, Kaylin. All right, Kayla EQ02 writes, or EQ2 writes, Disney owns Fox. Rob wants a movie with the Fox logo in the next 6 months. Star Wars comes out in 6 months. Star Wars starting correctly for the first time since LA buyout. Well, here's the thing, though. That's not how this works. Fox had nothing to do with the making of Star Wars, of this Star Wars. Fox had nothing to do with the making of Star Wars Episode 9. Nothing. So you don't just put up some random thing on there. So while it's a very romantic idea, I don't think that's going to happen because it would also be very misleading. It suggests that this is a Fox picture, and it's not. It's not a Fox movie. Fox had nothing to do with it. So, and I think that's more important than just a symbolic, just put it there for the sake of putting it there. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong, Kayla, I'd geek out too hearing from-bum, from-bum, ba-da-rum-bum-bum-ba-da-ba. Like, to hear that in front of the Star Wars logo coming up, that would be very cool. But it's also a lie. And it's incorrect. And it's deceiving. Because that's not what it is, you know? So I'm going to guess no. But hey, who knows? Maybe they do it just for the fun of it, but I'm going to guess, just a guess, and I'm not willing to put money on it or anything. I'm not hardcore on this. I'm just going to guess that they're not going to do that. Rufino Salazar Jr. writes, Stranger Things trailer looks sweet. I agree. It looked like a lot of fun. It had all the kind of tone of the original 2 seasons. It feels fun. It looks like they're introducing some new elements. I really like the trailer myself, Rufino. Hugo Alanis writes, I really hope Fantastic Four gets announced soon. In Spider-Man Homecoming, Tony sells the old Avengers building to someone. It would be a perfect segue. Yeah, but you don't rush a movie just because you had a good segue. Right? Like, that's not how you do it. You don't build a house because, ooh, look at this sweet doorknob I have. God, I should build a $600,000 house since I have this sweet doorknob. It would be a waste not to use this sweet doorknob. Let's spend $600,000 and build a house so we can use this sweet doorknob. That's kind of the equivalent, right? But hey, like I said earlier, Hugo, that's exactly where my mind went too. When I'm watching Homecoming and they're like, they're selling that building? Huh. How cool would it be for that to be the Baxter building? I thought the exact same thing, man. So my mind and yours completely synced up. But again, why? What's the rush? Kevin Feige already has Phase 4 planned out, and he planned it long before Disney and Fox ever talked about merging, and before he ever heard about it. Is he going to change his plans? I doubt it. Do you rush it in because now you have the rights? Well, there's lots of Marvel characters they've had rights to, and they don't feel the need to rush into them. So I don't want them to rush it. Like right now, Kevin Feige, he's focused on, besides Endgame and Far From Home and Eternals and Doctor Strange 2 and a Black Widow movie and a Black Panther 2, he has got enough on his plate right now. Oh, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, by the way. Look how many films they've already got lined up. Like, why would you rush to announce a Fantastic Four? Take your time. The other thing is this. They probably wouldn't mind letting a few years pass to get the bad taste of the other Fantastic Four out of everybody's mouths. There's something to be said for that. I think there's something to be said about needing to let a little bit of time pass to put more distance between the colossal collapse of the last Fantastic Four movie and doing another one. There's something to be said about, I think, putting a little bit of distance there. Anyway, that's what I think. Okay, Chris Hamilton writes, best Denzel combination. Denzel with Tony Scott. Oh, they made some good movies together. Denzel with Spike Lee. Clearly made some great movies. And Denzel with Antoine Fuqua. You see, because I like Antoine Fuqua's Magnificent Seven more than most people do. And I really like his Equalizer movies, particularly the first one. I like that movie more than most people do. Admittedly more. Now, Denzel's made, like, with Fire and all that kind of stuff. He's made some great stuff with Tony Scott. I think was Unstoppable not also a Tony Scott film? Let me just double check that. I think it was. Unstoppable. It's the train movie he did with Chris Pine back in 2010. Yes, that was it. I like Unstoppable a lot. I think that movie is tragically underrated. I think that movie's wonderful. Anyway. And maybe I'm just going too much out of my geek outness, but I'm going to go Denzel and Antoine Fuqua. I mean, there's no denying Denzel with Tony Scott. There's no denying Denzel with Spike Lee, but I'm probably going to lean a little bit towards Denzel with Antoine. That's me at any rate. Kyle Mike Sill writes, with Disney gaining Fox's stake in Hulu and talks for getting AT&T's stake, what are the chances of Hulu being folded into Disney Plus? I think very little, because like I said before, Bob Iger has suggested that they may utilize and leverage Hulu to do different things and to put different types of programming up. You believe this with all of your soul. Disney Plus is going to be family friendly. That doesn't mean it's going to be a kids channel, but it's going to be a family friendly channel. It's going to be a PG-13 tops channel. They're not going to muddy the waters. They're not going to confuse the issue. They're not going to put R-rated material on Disney Plus. I guarantee that. So, since Disney is still open to making R-rated material under different banners, why not have an outlet like Hulu for more mature stuff? And like I said, Iger has hinted at that before. So, I would be very surprised if Disney took over Hulu 100% and then just folded it. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. There seems to be a big opportunity here for them to take that, leverage its existing user base, and use it for other types of programming. I think that seems to be their best play right now. Kella EQ2 writes, with the Fox buyout finished, does that mean that on the box office sheet, Dark Phoenix now will add to Disney's year-end and box office totals? Oh. I don't know. That's a good question, because it wasn't produced by Disney. It was produced by somebody else. I guess Disney becomes the distributor, I guess, since they own the distribution company. That's a good question. You know what? I'm going to guess yes. I'm going to guess yes, but I could be wrong. That's just a very off the top of my head guess, but that's a really interesting question, Kella. Okay, Juri Menian writes, Endgame theory. I think they're going to flood the universe with quantum energy to allow people to return, and this also gives people mutant powers. Again, that's a very popular theory that either the snap, quantum energy, the unsnap, whatever, that just causes mutation for the first time now. As I've already said in this video a number of times, to me, that's sacrificing way too much. Just saying mutants just came into existence now throws away all the rich history of what the whole mythology of the X-Men come from and what they are. It's a key identifying factor of the X-Men and their history. And I think just pretending like they just came into being now, I think that robs X-Men of a lot of its identity, a huge amount of its identity. But it may be what they do. I just think it's the wrong thing to do. I really do. I think it's the wrong thing to do. I don't have a better alternative right now. I just think it's the wrong thing to do. Keller writes, Fox obviously has a lot of movies in development. How long do you think it will take Alan Horn to review them and decide which to continue? Oh, he's got a big job ahead of him. And believe you me, he hasn't been able to review one single thing until the deal closed. You know, this morning at 12:02 a.m., that's when he could actually start officially going into the books. And yeah, it is going to be all Alan Horn's decision. I'm sure he's got a big task in front of him. That's man, everybody talks a lot about, woohoo, we got Kevin Feige's going to have all this new potential and a lot of new work because X-Men are there. Alan Horn has infinitely more he's got to do now. And I think it's going to take him a while to go through that stack and that schedule. And he's got to decide, ultimately, Alan Horn's going to be the one to decide how all these Fox properties fit into the overall movie strategies of Disney Studios, because he is the chairman of Disney Studios. He oversees everything movie related when it comes to Disney. Everybody answers to him. The heads of Pixar answer to him. Kathleen Kennedy answers to him. Kevin Feige answers to him. And then he, Alan Horn, answers to Bob Iger. And so Alan Horn's got a massive job in front of him. I got to assume it's going to take a while. Bag Studios writes, I think Phase 3 has 9 films. Phase 4 has time for... Fantastic Four has time for Phase 4. Not if Kevin Feige's already got his phases all planned out. Remember, Kevin Feige had all of Phase 4 completely planned out long before they ever started Phase 3. Let me rephrase. He always had Phase 3 planned out completely long before Phase 3 ever started. And you got to know that he already had Phase 4 mapped out long before Infinity War ever came. You got to know that he had it all mapped out long before Infinity War. Is there time to jam in a Fantastic Four? Yes. But why would Kevin Feige change his plan? Why would he change it? They've got X-Men and Fantastic Four now forever. It's theirs again. There's no rush. It's not like they have to get a Fantastic Four movie put into production within the next year or they lose Fantastic Four again. No, Fantastic Four is theirs. They own it. They can get around to it whenever they're good and ready. There is no need to rush. Why should Kevin Feige change up his plan for Phase 4 when he has all the time in the world to get around to Fantastic Four and all the time in the world to plan it, develop it, and do it right? He's already got a plan. So it's possible. It is possible. Don't misquote me. Don't say Campea says it's impossible. No. It's possible. It is. I just don't see why he would do it. But we'll find out soon enough, because Endgame's almost here. And then after Endgame is Far From Home. And then after Far From Home, I expect we'll get a big Phase 4 announcement. And that's coming up soon, so we're not going to have to speculate for too much longer. Bike Man writes, you think wildlife docs like Planet Earth can hit cinemas? They become so epic, and even BBC didn't expect so many youngsters. Long live Attenborough. Yeah, well, he's like a great narrator for that stuff. That, like, his voice in that stuff is incredible. I don't know. I know Disney continues to try putting out a lot of their nature docs, and to mixed results. Never anything big. So I don't know. I don't know if people will line up and rush out to go see a nature documentary in theaters. I don't know if you'll ever tap the wide audience. Not that you have to tap everybody in the audience, but I don't know. It seems like this is a great question, Bike Man. It's a wonderful question. If I was the head of a studio, I don't know that I would do it. I just don't know that it makes business sense. But wouldn't it be great if it did? Because some of those are fantastic. Like, so I get hooked. When I flip through the channels, I come to one of them, I end up staying on that channel for a while because they're really fun to watch. And you learn a lot, too. All right. Vino Sidus writes, hey, John, theory. Nick Fury already pushed the beeper in the Avengers, but Captain Marvel just received that message from 2012 and came back in 2019. No, I don't think so. I just think he didn't have the pager on him when the events of Avengers was going down. And he specifically goes for the pager. And because if the pager was already pressed, why is he still carrying it around with him? Right? Like if he's already sent out the signal, why is he keeping the pager on him? And if the signal's already been sent, why is the last thing he does pulling it out of his pocket? Right? So my guess is no. It's an intriguing theory, Vino. It's an intriguing theory, but I think there's enough anecdotal stuff in the movies to suggest, nah, that's not what happened. He pulled it out at the end, hit the button, that's when it went out, and it took Captain Marvel, I don't know, 5 days, because it wasn't the same day. When you watch the end credits scene in Captain Marvel, it's not the same day. It's been at least a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, who knows? So it's not like it just happened instantaneously, but I think the movie makes it pretty clear that's when he hit the button. But you're thinking outside the box, Vino, and I like that. All right, Cardin writes, Schnepp used to say that Phase 4 would be Phase Fantastic Four. Now that the Disney Fox deal is complete, do you think this will be the case? No, I don't. And I've explained why 1,000 times. It's possible. It's possible. But for all the reasons we already talked about, there's no rush. They have the Fantastic Four forever. They can take their time with it. Kevin Feige already had Phase 4 planned out. And you might want to give a couple more years in between that last disaster of a Fantastic Four film and when you launch Fantastic Four again. For all those reasons, I don't think so. But it is possible. It is absolutely possible. Eric DeRiggi writes, if Disney could have Insane Clown Posse on Hollywood Records, they can have Deadpool, Predator, Alien, etc. Maybe it's time they've grown up. No, listen. There's this big misconception out there that Disney has never developed any more mature R-rated stuff. Yes, they have. They've always just done it under different banners. Right? Historically, actually, me and Robert talked about this morning, that historically Disney has had a whole bunch of different banners, whether it was Miramax or others, that they also produced more adult-themed movies. They've always done that. Disney's always done that. They've always just been careful to put it under different banners, though. And so, yeah, they can easily do Deadpool, but instead of having it in the MCU, put it under a different banner. Maybe they put it under the Fox banner or a brand new banner. And they can do it, but it's not a new thing for Disney. They've always done that. They've done it historically. It wouldn't be a new thing for them. All right. Eternitine Forever writes, 60-40 X-Men and Deadpool stay as Fox label. Oh, God. I wish the X-Men would stay under the Fox label. I think it's very possible that Deadpool does. Actually, I would even say it's likely. I can't guarantee that. I mean, I don't know. But my initial guess is that it would probably be likely that he does. X-Men, though, God, I would love it if they weren't in the MCU. I just think that's the best. Because then you can create a whole world just for X-Men, mutation, all that kind of stuff. And you don't have to have them tripping over every street corner with some other superhero from the MCU. Not everything has to be in the damn same cinematic universe. But let's be honest, it doesn't matter how much I want that. That's not going to happen. They're going to put the X-Men in the MCU, which I believe is a mistake. But whatever, Kevin Feige will do a great job because that's what Kevin Feige does. But I think it's a very good chance the Fox label continues to have Deadpool, but I think it's almost impossible that the X-Men stay there. I think the X-Men are coming into the MCU, unfortunately. Apex Caliber writes, what if when Thanos snapped, he died from Thor's attack? Would that have been a better ending? Would that count as a cliffhanger? I don't know. I don't know how that would make it a better ending. I don't necessarily think it would make it a worse ending. By the way, Apex, that's how you ask a what-if question. You ask, what if this? Then you actually attach the question. Well done. That's the perfect way to write a what-if question. Anyway, what if when Thanos snapped, he died from Thor's attack? Would that have been a better ending? Would that count as a cliffhanger? No, it's not a cliffhanger. The movie still ends. A cliffhanger is when the movie doesn't end. You get to the end of the movie, but the movie doesn't end. It's a cliffhanger because you got to tune in next week to see how it continues. This was a self-contained 3-act movie with a beginning, a middle, and the end. The only difference between this movie and others is that instead of the good guy winning, the bad guy won. But it is a full, complete movie that didn't have a cliffhanger. The bad guy won. The cliffhanger would have been if Avengers Infinity War ended with the close-up on the gauntlet and Thanos snapping his fingers and then the screen going black and then the credits rolling. That would have been a cliffhanger. That would have been a cliffhanger. However, that's not how the movie ended. He snapped, and then you saw the result of the snap. Half of everybody dies. And then he escapes and does exactly what he said he was going to do. Go off, rest, watch the sunset on a grateful universe. The end. That's it. It wasn't a cliffhanger. It wasn't anything like that. So I don't know if him dying from the attack would be any sort of a cliffhanger either. The only way I see it being a cliffhanger, Apex, is again, if the camera zoomed in on the thumb or on the glove like it did, shows a snap, screen goes black, roll credits. That would have been a cliffhanger. Luis Maldonado writes, what do you think of Tony Stark walking behind Steve Rogers instead of beside him in the new Endgame trailer? Exactly where he should be. Cap is the leader of the Avengers, right? Cap is the leader of the Avengers. You know, they highlighted that in Age of Ultron when they come back from their mission in Age of Ultron and they land the Quinjet at Avengers Tower. And who is it? Maria Hill comes in. You know, Cap and Tony are still in the Quinjet. And she goes, hey, boss, what do you want to do with this? And Tony points out, he's the boss. I just pay for everything, right? Cap is the leader of the Avengers. So if they're reunited again, yeah, Tony should fall in line behind Cap because he's the leader. I'm not saying Cap is the main character of the MCU. I think he's one of the main characters, but he's the leader of the Avengers. So yeah, to me, that was completely proper. People follow Steve. They'll follow him to hell and back. And yeah, it's just perfectly right to me that he was the one leading them. Let's see here. Where am I at here? Sylvan89 writes, I like the aspect of Google Stadia. I was part of their testing called Project Stream, but I know Sony's not going to give up their exclusive games. True, but it ain't going to be up to Sony forever. It's up to the game developers to sign exclusive deals. But once those deals expire, once they start developing new games, and once they start doing all that kind of stuff, they can make games for anybody they want. So you're going to start to see these console makers panic. You're going to start to see these console makers panic. You're going to hear so much, what's the word I'm looking for? You're going to hear so much rhetoric and propaganda coming out of Xbox and PlayStation talking about how bad the Stadia idea is. Oh, it's terrible. And they're going to put tons of money into bad talking Stadia. They're going to do everything they can to kill this idea because it threatens their business. But it is the next logical evolution of the gaming medium, making it more accessible to people, making it easier for people to get their hands on. It's better for game developers. But so yeah, I fully intend, it's all bad news for Xbox and Sony, so you're going to see Xbox and Sony kicking and screaming and putting out tons of propaganda and tons of rhetoric against it. It's going to be an interesting time. But hey, maybe Stadia, look, there's a really good chance here Stadia doesn't deliver on its promises. That Stadia doesn't work nearly as well as they say it's going to work. And maybe there's tons of problems with it and it's just not feasible. There's a good chance that's the case, in which case there's no problem to Xbox and Sony. But if Stadia works the way they say it'll work, you're about to see it get ugly. Anyway, Raymond Lopez writes, Thanos is powerful enough to use all the stones at once, but his arm and gauntlet were fried. Anyone else would have been totally destroyed. Okay, you raise a good point for an argument I was having with somebody. At the beginning of Infinity War, first of all, we learned from Guardians of the Galaxy that Very, very few beings in the universe can wield an Infinity Stone, right? And like even when Star-Lord, who is half celestial, held onto the Power Stone, he survived for a while, but he wasn't going to survive holding it for long. And he had to hold hands with the other Guardians to distribute the power that was going through them to let him live longer, but they weren't going to be able to hold that forever. And if they held on to that Power Stone much longer, it would have killed them all. At the beginning of Infinity War, Ebony Maw takes the stone, gets down, I believe it's the Space Stone, or it was the Mind Stone. I think it was the Space Stone. Anyway, gets down, yeah, it was the Space Stone. He gets down, which was the Tesseract. He gets down on one knee, hands it, holds it up to Thanos, and he gives his speech. Never has any being had the might, nay, the nobility, to wield not one, but 2 Infinity Stones. And he takes it, drops it into the gauntlet, has his Highlander quickening moment. He levels up. I think, much like Thor said, if anybody even tried to wield Stormbreaker, their mind would instantly descend into madness and it would destroy them. Trying to wield the Infinity Stones would kill anybody. Only Thanos was mighty enough to wield the stones. So a lot of people think, well, what if Tony puts on the Infinity Gauntlet? He's just a regular mortal human guy. He'd die instantly. So it'll be interesting, Raymond, to see how they play that out. It's going to be interesting to see how they play that out. Okay. Lycon Zero writes, Stadia's biggest 2 issues are the lag is quite a bit higher than consoles, and exclusives are still a thing, so no Sony/Nintendo games. I don't know. They're saying the lag is nominal. They're saying lag is not going to be an issue. Again, that's one of the promises that maybe it does and maybe it doesn't live up to it. We'll have to wait and see. And as far as exclusives go, maybe for now. But listen, if I'm running a game developing company and I have an option later on for a new title I'm working on, I can either put it on a platform that has 10 million potential customers, or I can put it on a platform where I could have 200 million potential customers or 1 billion potential customers. Where do you think I'm putting my game? I'm putting them where there's 1 billion potential customers. But anyway, so I don't think exclusives are going to be an issue for long. Not for long. Eric DeRiggi writes, rewatch Thor 2. Possible connection of soul lights around Jane when she got healed, matching the Quantum Realms light show at the time of Snap Glow in Ant-Man 2 Stinger. Both match the hue of the soul world. First of all, Eric, incredibly observant. That's incredibly observant. I never even thought about that. My first reaction is to say, I think you're reading too much into it. I think you're reading too much into it. That being said, it's an intriguing thought, Eric. That is an intriguing thought. Now, of course, but it matches the hue of the soul world. Yeah, but it wasn't the soul stone. So that doesn't make any sense. I don't know that there'd be any connection of that with the snap and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. But, that is a really keen observation. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe there is. We'll have to keep our eyes on that, Eric. That's, again, really observant, man. I haven't even heard that mentioned before. All right. Matt Torres writes, Tony misdirect. In the trailer, they show them walking out of order. Tony and Widow are behind Cap in front of Nebula, but they hide Tony when they show Cap and then show Widow and Tony last. Again, somebody brought that up before, Matt. Honestly, if it is a misdirect, that would be the easiest thing for them to make sure is in the right order. They wouldn't botch a misdirect. They wouldn't make a mistake like that if they're designing a misdirect. My initial thing, and what I still believe, is that it's just from the different camera angles. It's just the camera angles made things look a certain way. So I honestly don't think that's an issue. But again, the biggest reason why I don't think that's an issue is because if they designed that to be a misdirect, they wouldn't have made that mistake, right? I honestly think it's just a camera angle thing. Now, if you saw the John Campea Show earlier today, I do believe that whole scene is a potential misdirect. I believe that whole scene is a potential misdirect. But not because of that, though. So I'm not buying into that. But you're not the only one I've heard mention that, Matt. So you're in good company. There are other people who agree with you on that. I'm not one of them, but other people do. So let's keep an eye on that as we get into the movie. Only a month to go. Only a month to go until Endgame, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Mike Thompson writes, over under 15%, Millennium Falcon gets destroyed in Episode 9. Ooh, 15% is a real low number. I'm going to take the over on that. I think the over on 15% is a real safe number to take. All right, Apex Caliber writes, what if mutants are a recent phenomenon? Good or bad for the MCU to make this retcon? I think bad. Yeah, I've already explained that many times in this video. I think it's a bad retcon. It undermines and strips away the very foundational mythology that makes mutants such an interesting story. And if you take away the history of Magneto and Professor Xavier and the history of oppression of mutants in the society that leads up to the situation we find ourselves in when the X-Men story starts, I think you're stripping away a key fundamental part of the DNA of the X-Men. I really do. And it may be what they do. But frankly, from my point of view, I think it's a bad retcon. But again, it's Kevin Feige. I'm sure he would find a way to make it work. Brojo Saved by Grace writes, did Joss Whedon ruin the Justice League? I keep hearing the fanboys say that. What are your thoughts on this? Also, would Infinity be better with Whedon? Well, I only answer one question at a time. Joss Whedon improved Justice League. Justice League was better than Batman vs. Superman. And I believe if Joss Whedon had just been in charge of Justice League from the beginning, it would have turned out even better. But I think for all the reasons that I enjoyed Justice League, and I enjoyed all the DC films. I've given positive reviews to every single one. And I take a lot of crap from some people for that. And there's a bunch of people that say I'm on Warner Brothers payroll for that. I don't give a flying fuck what anybody says. I'm going to tell you what my opinion is. My opinion is I enjoyed the DC movies. And I enjoyed Batman vs. Superman. I did. But I thought what Joss Whedon did and the changes he made to Justice League made it better. And I think it could have been even better than it was had it actually been him in charge from day one and not trying to do reshoots on 70% of the movie and trying to rearrange the movie and make it into something. And then if Walter Hamada hadn't stepped in and stopped Joss Whedon from delaying the release of the movie like he wanted to do so he could keep working on it. Sorry, I said Walter Hamada, Kevin Tsujihara, who's just stepped down as the Warner Brothers head. I think Joss Whedon made the movie better than it was going to be. I think he made it, even with just the little he did, I think he made it a better movie than Batman vs. Superman. And I like Batman vs. Superman. But no, there you go. Kayla EQ2 writes, I don't think the percentage of gay characters and comparing them to the percentage of gay people is the correct way to look at it. Of course it's the correct way to look at it. I think that should be counted. What should be counted is the percentage of gay relationships, a far poorer showing. I don't agree with that at all. Because if you're comparing the number of people in our culture who identify as gay, then that is the direct correlation you have. Then how many characters do we see in television movies that openly identify as being gay? That is the correct comparison. Because the percentage of gay people in our culture isn't the percentage of gay couples in our culture. It's the percentage of gay individuals, or at least people who identify as being gay. That is in my opinion, that is the correct corresponding relationship between then what percentage of characters in movies and TV shows should then openly identify as being gay. And if you're equating that to the number of people in our culture who do, that means 1 out of every 20 characters we see in movies and TV should be gay characters. If you're just trying to make it consistent with what our reality is. I don't think comparing that to percentage of couples is the right way to look at it. I don't see how that's a comparison there at all. But maybe I'm just not completely grasping your point, Keller, or what it is you're trying to get at. But no, if the percentage is the number of gay individuals, then we should be talking about the percentage of gay individuals in movies and TV shows. If you're talking about in our culture the percentage of people who are in gay relationships and couples there are, then that becomes a different thing. But I think looking at individuals to characters is the proper comparison. At least that's just how I look at it. But then again, like I said, maybe I'm misunderstanding your meaning on that, which is totally possible. Okay, guys, that will do it for this installment of the companion video. We are now all caught up on all the questions that got sent in today. Don't forget, guys, we will be back again tomorrow for another episode of the John Campea Show. I can't wait to have you guys back and joining us. And don't forget, me and Robert will be back tomorrow talking about all the big things going on in the world of movies and movie news, a little bit of television, all that sorts of good stuff. One more little plug time, guys, just because it's still so new. Make sure you guys hop on your podcast app of choice, whether it's iTunes or anything else. Go and subscribe to Best Movie, Worst Movie. We have a blast making them. I think they're really, really fun. Go download them, subscribe to them, rate them, comment on them, all that sorts of good stuff. Everything you do helps the show, and we really appreciate it. That'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks so much for being here. My name's John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.